Hello and welcome back to another character creation video. My name's Lumin and today we're having a look at Aska. Lay claim to unspoiled lands and pave the way for a fierce Viking tribe. Create the ultimate settlement solo or together with up to 3 friends while working, crafting, hunting and fighting together. Trust in the gods and the power of the Eye of Odin and summon intelligent NPC villagers to provide camaraderie and relief from the toils of survival. And along with all of that, create and customize a character. So we're going to jump in and have a look. If you would like to do a deep dive to discover all there is to discover about Aska, you can find some links below, and as always there will be timestamps. The timestamps will tell you that there are 2 protagonists that we can use, we can customize. There's a male one and a female one. We're going to jump in on the female one first. Her name is Aska, the Raven. The male is called Ragnar, the Bear. So yeah, you actually get a choice and they are distinct from one another. They have their own stats, their own personalities, their own lives, you know? So these are characters that you pick in. And that said, it's also a bit of a curated experience. You are creating and or customizing Aska and Ragnar. So just know that the options are limited to keep the character herself or himself, right? Okay, good. Let's jump in. We're starting on Aska, the Raven. Aska, daughter of the Raven and keeper of the Eye, is the brilliant leader of the exiled people of the North. She's a nimble, tireless, and resourceful hunter with an extraordinary sense of perception, matched only by the swiftness of her intellect. She alone holds the secrets of the Eye of Odin and the hope of her people's future. Her stats can be seen on the right-hand side over here. Vitality influences max health, stamina influences sprint, block, and special moves. Hunger is for food depletion, thirst is for water depletion, cold resistance, well, that's resistance to cold. Strength includes melee combat and harvest speed, dexterity is ranged combat and crafting, intelligence influences certain professions and magic, and then finally perception is the ability to discover resources. For Aska specifically, you can tell that the vitality and stamina are quite high, pretty good. Then her dex, intellect, and perception are also pretty good, with the others being slightly weaker. That's cool. Yeah, and when we jump onto Ragnar, you will see his stats are not the opposite, but they are quite different. Now, for customization, we are still in the early days. I can tell you that right away. There are 2 presets at the moment. There's a darker haired one and a lighter haired one. It's like basically the same, really. The rest of them are unused. But I think the lighter hair one is the default, so we'll jump in on there. There are not a huge amount of options. We've got sort of a little bit to work with here and a few things to change. But again, we are working with a curated experience. Like, you are customizing Aska. There's not a large amount of stuff that you can actually change. And that's cool because she's a good looking character. Like, the character model here is phenomenal. I love how they've done it. The armor and you know, clothing that she's wearing is really cool. I like most of it. I really do. No complaints there. But yeah, your options are rather limited because you are customizing her. Now, for facial features, we have a bunch of piercings here. You can't actually turn them off, which is kind of weird to me. Because, I mean, you can take the tattoos and stuff like that off, not the piercings. She obviously just likes her piercings. There's a selection, basically, of nose, lip, and ear piercings. So you can sort of pick what tickles your fancy. You don't get to customize them any further. You just pick one of those and you go. For the hairstyles, there's not a huge amount here. And I will say, like, up front, I'm not a huge fan of what they've done with the hair. I feel like they couldn't really decide whether they wanted to go, like, full realism or hang back a little bit, so they ended up in like a weird in-between space where it's a little too sharp, it's a little too harsh on the eyes, especially on the eyebrows and on the hanging pieces here. I don't know if it's a limitation of the engine or if they perhaps just added too much fine detail to hair that probably shouldn't have so much fine detail. It ends up looking a little strange, right? It's not a big thing. It's just personally I prefer a smoother style, or on the flip side, I prefer the extreme, where it's like super realistic looking. Yeah, but the hairstyles themselves, there are a few that look okay. Obviously inspired by Vikings and the like. They're okay. Yeah, they're okay. They're cool. We'll take the first one again. I'll show you the colors. There are some nice colors here. I particularly like the red. The green is nice too, and the purple is beautiful. Or pink or purple. I think it's purple. Yeah. Big fan of the red though. I really like the red. Eye color. Good selection of eye colors. Not so much grounded in reality. But the eyes, I like to mention usually whether I think that they're visible or not when you zoom out. In this case, they're not so visible when you zoom out. You sort of lose the color unless you take a really bright one, which we're going to do. I'll take this nice yellow one over here, which is, again, fine. It's not a really big deal. The eyes of a character are not always the most important part. But that is it for the face and hair. If we move on to the body, you will see that we can choose our tattoo style here. The tattoos are pretty great. I think it's less that the tattoos are great, more so just that the body is really cool. She's got some nice muscles here. You know, good form with that axe over the shoulder there. So, like, you put tattoos on it, they're gonna look good. That's it, man. That's it. I can appreciate it, you know? And with the tattoos, as I mentioned, you actually have the choice to take them off. You can just put it on 6, which is nothing. We'll just take this one right now so I can show you the colors. The lighter colors here for the tattoos, they're only really visible on the darker skin tones. And speaking of skin tones, we're going to jump in there now, and I will just say I'm not really sure what they were going with the skin tones. There is such a random selection here. Like, you've got like this onyx black, and then you've got a few grounded in reality colors. The black is great. That's a good black. I like it. It's a nice one. It's a good dark black. Fantastic skin tone. But then you move over here, and you've got like these weird, like purpley, greeny, bluey kind of blacks. I don't know what these are. I don't know. Maybe it's got something to do with the game's lore or world. It's possible. But it is just it's a funny selection. And, you know, the reason I even bring this up is because usually when you've seen like a Viking game or something like this, then you actually generally tend to see more pale skin tones and not so much the darker ones, which is, again, kind of weird to me. But that actually brings us to the end. That's it for Aska, the Raven. There are some okay options here. You know, they look alright, but it's just not a huge selection. We're going to move on to Ragnar, though. This is Ragnar the Bear. He's a former thrall who earned his freedom through hard work. His great physical strength, together with an unbreakable will, fueled by his faith in a primal bear god, make him an invaluable ally and friend of Aska. Where Aska leads through sharpness of wit, Ragnar's there to break wood, stone, and foe with raw ferocity. He does look pretty cool. Once again, the body, the model work, all that stuff is fantastic. His vitality is maxed out. That's his max health. Stamina is sprint, block, and special moves. Hunger, that's the food depletion. And thirst is the water depletion. They're pretty high. Cold resistance, you know what that is. Strength, it influences melee combat and harvest speed. Dexterity is ranged combat and crafting. Intelligence is certain professions and magic. And finally, perception is the ability to discover resources. You can see he's sort of top heavy with the stats. His dex, intellect, and perception are a little bit lower. Yeah, he's different. He's different. You'll also notice that it's becoming nighttime here, which is a little weird. It makes it kind of hard to customize. But hey, we are here. We are doing it. I only say that because like you've got a weird like light coming from the campfire, and we'll make do. Facial features. That's beards for him. He doesn't do piercings like Aska. The beards are okay. I must say he looks a little strange without the beard. So I'm going to be like, yeah, put the beard on. It's not that he looks strange. It's just that we've seen him with the beard. You know, it's a natural thing. Once you see him with the beard, it's kind of odd to not have the beard there. So let's just leave the beard on for now. Hairstyles. He has his own selection. Some unique styles here. I kind of like them. Like, I'm a fan of this mohawk. I'm a fan of most of the stuff that's sort of in the middle. And then he's got some slightly longer styles and a shaved head. There you go. I'm again a fan of the mohawk, so we'll put that one on. Hair color. Same colors as Aska. Where I would say I really like the red. There's a green as well, which is interesting. The black actually looks good on him, too. Yeah. And the purple. Who the hell knows why that's there. Maybe green and purple are just the modelers or the artist's favorite colors, so they decided to put those in there. Or maybe they have some significance to the game's lore. It's possible, right? I do like the black, actually. Eye color. Here we go. There's a few different choices that stand out here. I feel like the red, specifically, and this yellow one, they really pop. But for him, I think he'd look good with blue eyes. So let's take that. Body. For him, the body options, the tattoos are a little bit more visible because more of his chest is showing. But they look good. Nice war paint. They look really good. My man's going to get a backache if he stands hunched like that the whole time. I'm not sure what this pose is. but that can't be sustainable, you know. And then 5 is no tattoos. Again, though, like, these guys did a phenomenal job with the bodies. Like, they look really cool. Really, really cool. Tattoo colors. Some nice colors here. Again, the lighter ones, they look better on the darker skin tones. They actually look pretty sick on the darker skin tones, I gotta say. Like, this obviously disappears completely, but, like, this is really cool. Yeah. So, decent selection of tattoo colors. Good selection of skin colors as well. I mentioned on the Aska customization that I was not entirely sure what they were going for here. I like the darker tones that they have here, and I like how dark the dark goes, but I would have liked a few more pale colors. And then I'm not really sure what these ones are over here. It's kind of a different set of dark skin tones with different shades to them. I never complain about more options, you know, more is better, but it is just a little strange. And that does bring us to the end of the customization. So that's it for Ragnar, and you did just see Aska before that. I will just say, I can see that this is early days, and they're still working on it, and I can also see that it's very much a curated experience, and that's cool, you know? We jump in and we're customizing these specific characters, so we are obviously a little bit limited. We are sticking to the vision that the devs have for the characters themselves, and that's cool. But there's a lot that still needs to go into this. The models look really nice for now. I do think the hair needs some improving, but the rest of it is pretty cool. Yeah. And I think we need a little bit more cohesion with the options. A little bit more rhyme and reason with the options. But with that said, still pretty cool to see these things. I like taking an early look at games. I will definitely revisit it when the time comes. And there you go. Let me know what you guys think. As always, you can give this one a like and share it and do all that other good stuff. Hey, you can find my links below as well. My coffee page, my Twitch channel, and all the rest. Happy making those characters, guys. Happy that.